All right, there we go. I think we're good now. What up, everybody? Al Ingram the third here. We got Rain Man. We got We Are Bad Gamers. Mission to Mars podcast. Here at the halfway point of the season. Hey, how y'all fellas doing, man?
Man, pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Doing pretty good. Y'all enjoyed the All-Star the All-Star festivities last night?
Oh my gosh, man. That was so much fun. Much needed rest for the rest of the league, and then got to highlight some amazing players.
Yeah.
The league's amazing, but some real top notch, top shelf. It's like bourbon. You got that top shelf whiskey was on display last night. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And shout out to Al Ingram, shout out to Jason P, shout out to Tez Green. We'll talk about all that. Shout out to Bobby Bricks. We'll talk about everything. So
let's go ahead and let's just get into it. First of all, shout out to everybody who in the chat right now. I see Nighthawk done joined us in the chat. Nighthawk, what up, man? Kobe Johnson in here. But we're gonna get on started here. So
cool.
Let's see here. What we're gonna start with? I guess we could start with the top All-Star Weekend events here, man. So we had Tez Green win the 3-point competition, and I thought he did pretty good. What about y'all?
Well, he did good. Counting somebody even voted for him. Should have said he was gonna win. I was surprised to hear that. But I actually thought that Ethan Letterman would have actually won it. But Tez Green, the double-headed monster, yeah, I can see that.
He did good all his rounds. Hey, gamers, your mic is like going in and out like real bad.
Oh, okay, hold on. I'll be right back.
Sound like a robot, man. iRobot.
iRobot.
We got iRobot going on in here. Hey, but yeah, so let's talk about, let's see here. When gamers come back, we'll get his opinion on it. But then we had Bobby Bricks win the dunk competition on the only perfect 50 of the whole contest.
Of the night.
Hey, gamers, you good?
Yeah, can y'all hear me? Is that a little bit better?
Yeah, that's pretty good. What was you saying?
Oh yeah, no. What were you saying?
You back sounding like a robot, gamers.
No. Oh. Hold on, let me fix. I'll fix it. I'll be back.
All right, you good. All right, going back to the dunk competition, Ray, man, what did you think about Bobby Bricks winning it on the only perfect 50?
Well, I want to say, I thought the judges was a little bit harsh last night, but I do, they are entitled to their opinions. Entitled. Mm-hmm. But, Bobby Bricks, he did good last night. He did really good last night. His dunk was amazing. You can tell he put some thought into it. Mm-hmm. Cameron Best, I thought he put some thought into his second attempt. He wanted the first dunk looked better than the next one. Mm-hmm. I thought he would have, at least got into the third round.
Oh yeah.
I just thought the judge was a little bit harsh.
No, I think I can speak for the judge since I was one last night. It was just one of those things where, like, we saw a lot where we were seeing the same dunks. And, like, Cameron Best, he could have had it, but he did the same dunk twice in a row. Like, if he would have did something other than that, then he probably would have went through to the finals for me. But just because he did the same dunk twice in a row, man, I mean, I, I got to
You know,
take off
he,
something.
he wanted to make it look better than the the last dunk.
That's
You
true.
know, hey, watch how I do it. This y'all gave me 7.5. I'm getting 10 off this one.
Hey, well, then moving forward, we did have the All Star game. After that, Team Ingram versus Team Gaucher. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen for y'all to see right here real quick. But let's see here. Hope y'all can. Oh no, y'all ain't gonna be able to see that. Let me get it straight. But Team Gaucher versus Team Ingram, where Team Ingram did win 122 to 134. What did y'all think of that, man? That was a good All Star game. I'm not even gonna lie.
It was a lot of fun. Can y'all hear me now? Finally,
I
is it
can
working
hear
Yeah,
you.
better?
there we go.
Okay.
There
Okay.
he
I don't know what
is.
I did. Now I don't know what I did to make it work, but it's working now. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. Um, everybody played on fire. KV and Tyree, man, came out so hot. And equally, Ant Thomas on the other side started out hot, and the closers just finished it out. It was a lot of fun. I'm upset I didn't get to watch the whole game. I wanted to see the end. I think I stayed for about almost to the beginning of the fourth quarter,
Mm,
but it was a good game, very entertaining. I liked the fast pace, offense galore, lots of amazing shooting. We saw Gleasack hit that big three out of
hmm
nowhere. That even though he can shoot that, I don't know why Oakland don't let him shoot it more. But it was a fun game to watch, and
Yeah.
of course it was great to see Gaucher and Ingram, be captains and do their thing.
Yeah, I told Gaucher when we first found out that we were captains, I put in there, I was like, man, if anything, I was trying to get you on my team. I wasn't trying to be going one on one against you, man. But, it was a good dude. It was a privilege being called a captain with him this year. Um, Tyree, he came out and he was hot. I mean, 4 for 4 from three. Jason Peace also, both him and Tyree went 100% from the 3-point line with at least 4 attempts um, from the 3-point last night. Then you got, Javier Nunes, who led my bench unit with them scoring 75 points in the game, man. I mean, the
Dang.
bench the bench basically took over in the fourth quarter. So by the
Oh,
time the starters came back out, we was like, shoot, we really don't got to do nothing but run clock because they done did everything. But
right, right.
I had some great guys on my team. Shout out to everybody who was on my team, man. The Dragon, Anthony Stank, he came out and went off in the fourth quarter as well. So I thought it was a pretty good game. Definitely one of the best All Star games we done had so far in the GSB.
I agree. Jason Peace asked a good question. Who was your first pick for Team England? Well, Peace, the way that they did it, if I remember correctly, is you just got to choose the starting lineup, but the teams were kind of chosen based off of the voting, right?
Well, we got to choose our starters and our bench actually this year.
Oh,
No.
wow.
Mhm.
Snap. Whoa, Ingram. Okay.
Mhm.
So these are good questions. I know.
But
I'm laughing. I know Rain Man's about to
I
ask
know.
a whole
Yeah.
bunch of questions. How did you decide on your bench? How, how
but
did you how did you
I
choose
just
that?
want to know, how did he sign on that first pick?
but the,
Oh
the
yeah.
thing about it
Who
was
was the
that
mascot?
each our perspective but we got to choose first pick, but point guard and shooting guard for the first round of starters, it was automatically assigned. So since I was running point guard, I couldn't like choose a shooting guard. Or Gaucher, since he was
oh,
running shooting guard, he couldn't choose his point guard. So and it was how was it? So I got the first pick, and then he chose two, then I chose two, and then Gaucher got the last pick in the first round, in the starter round.
okay. Okay. Okay.
Uh huh.
So I figured my thought process behind this was I figured that I can't say nothing for Gaucher because Gaucher isn't here. But my thinking was he wasn't gonna go for peace. Um, he was probably gonna go for Riggins. So I grabbed Riggins first before he did.
Oh, oh. I'm listening. We're listening.
So he ended up grabbing Jamal Davis and Just Blaze. And then I was like, all right, it's all going to plan. So I ended up grabbing Jason Peace and Greg Powers. And the last one was Josh Young, and that was the starters. Now, it was the same way for the bench round, except this time, he got to go first, and then I chose two, he chose two, and then I got the last pick, basically. So his first pick in the bench round was Dior Island.
Okay.
So then that's when I chose Javier Nunes and Kwon Hu Chi. He chose Biff Markham and Aldo Huxley. I got Tyree and Gleesack. And the crazy thing is, Anthony Stank haven't came off the board yet. But the thing about it was, he had already taken a two guard, so he couldn't get another one if he wanted to get Anthony Stank. So I knew Anthony Stank was already automatically mine. I just need to go for who I wanted to go based off who I wanted to get based off of who was left in each position. So I ended up getting Tyree.
That was very smart.
I ended up getting Tyree and Gleesack, leaving him with the only two choices left of Jack Lawson and Bo Mambo, and then Stank was automatically mine. So, and that was basically it though. I enjoyed the process though. Being able to choose our own starters and our own bench was great. It was very great.
That's dope, man. That's dope.
Man, you came in with a plan and executed it. Like, straight executed it.
Jason P saying if I didn't pick him first, he'd have been. Jason, I went in there with a plan, man, and my plan worked. You know me. I'm always gonna have a plan or some type of game plan going to any type of situation here in any league, in any of these games that I have something to do with. And I was like, if I'm gonna be able to choose the lineup, I want the lineup to I know that can like do everything I needed to do. So that was my thinking behind that lineup. Like I said, I can't speak for Gaucher, but Gaucher, he had a pretty good lineup too. I mean, so that's just the way I thought of it.
Yeah, because I thought, looking at it, like Ant came 24.7 assists, 1 block. I'm talking about they had some stars. Dior Island showed up with 18 points.
Yeah.
Josh Young, 18 points.
That man with Josh.
I'm telling you, they had stars just looking at it.
Yeah.
Blaze showed up, 16-5. Man.
I mean,
I thought y'all was basically almost evenly matched.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It was just like I called it last night. I said the first 3 quarters, it's gonna be fun. Everybody gonna play a little loose and stuff like that. But fourth quarter is when it always get competitive, and it got competitive in that fourth quarter for sure. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, so shout out to my guys. I mean, you had Tyree with 23 on my team. Jason Peace with 22.
Golly, man.
Javier, 16 points, 11 rebounds, the double, which is why he was named MVP of the game. Anthony Stank with 16. I had 13.7 assists. I was just trying to pass the ball around. I had all these great guys around me. I just wanted to pass the ball around, man.
Just like, here, I'm pass.
You had the Dragon with 13. I mean, Riggins had 12. Abel had 7. Gleesack had 7. and Greg Powers he had 5. So I mean, it was a great game. Like last night, up until like uh, just the whole game was very competitive, and I
Mhm,
loved how
mhm.
it was. Especially
Yeah, I
running
agree.
those all-star playbooks, man. That was fun.
Hmm. Hmm. But yeah, no, that matchup with Josh Young versus Riggins was hilarious in the first quarter. They were going back and forth at each other,
Yeah.
and like I told you, Josh Young is a freaking lightning bolt. He made that first shot, and you just knew. I mean, he got to take over like a shot later, and yeah, I mean, he just kept going right at Riggins. I think Josh had like 6 points in the first 3 minutes of the game.
Hmm.
Um, but it was super funny to watch them go back and forth, and everybody one up each other. You know, you hit a three, then the other person hit a three, then you get a block, someone else gets a block. Um, it was a good game. It was a good game. It was a good reset
Yeah.
for the league.
Yeah, I'm talking about was it Bo Mamba? I'm talking about straight had a block party at one point.
Hmm.
Oh, he did, man.
I'm talking about I see one went off the glass. This feel like it went half court. Like man, I was like man, these guys are actually playing tonight.
Yeah, they was playing. Like I was like, God dang, man, this is like I thought this was gonna like. I mean, and it started with Gaucher and his boys. They started running defense more than we did, and we were like, good
Hmm.
gracious. So
Yeah, that was like that
Yeah.
end of the first, and the beginning of the second.
yeah,
Hmm.
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 so it was a fun night, man. That was a fun game to play in. I just enjoyed it. I hope everybody else enjoyed it too, man.
It
That
was
was
great, great,
that
great.
was that was an excellent game. I love those unis too for both
Hmm.
teams as
Hmm.
well. And shout out to Kentucky for hosting All Star this week.
Gracious host,
Yeah,
gracious host, and you know the All Stars and everybody who competed. They got treated very, very wonderfully. You guys had exquisite 5 course meals
mhm,
in different parts of Kentucky. I heard y'all went from Louisville to Lexington. You had all kinds of amazing adventures this whole week.
yeah.
Um,
And I ain't even want to tell you gamers, but I did let them catch a ride on the mothership to some of these places.
oh,
So
it's okay, man. I mean, because
yeah,
it's All Star, we can write it off as a charity,
yeah.
and
Speaking
we'll get that credit back. Don't worry.
speaking of, remind me
Hey,
to get a
he was trying to be a good host.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
speaking of,
yeah.
remind me to get the mothership deep clean though, because
Oh,
Tim Riggins he
after.
had a bunch of tequila on the
Oh,
mothership. So
oh,
yeah,
wow.
we're gonna have to get it cleaned up a little bit.
Ah,
Yeah,
I thought I asked him not to do that, but okay, yeah, yeah, we'll get it clean. Don't
we'll
worry,
get it
don't worry.
clean though. It's all good though.
Ah,
It's all good.
okay.
Hey, no more Tim Riggins in the mothership.
No
No
more,
more.
man.
No more.
He
We can't have him no more in the mothership.
for some reason he can hold his liquor everywhere else except in space. So, uh,
That's very true. Especially as soon as we
oh
hit that
crap.
button and go light speed.
Jason P said there was a conspiracy against Fowler and Banks in the three. Yeah, that 3 point contest. You know what? Um, I'll say, congrats to Tez. He's an amazing shooter. I was very disappointed in how Fowler and Banks did. Those guys, you know, we were in a high-powered offense, and we used the three ball a lot. So those guys practice shooting threes, all week. So I don't know if maybe it was just nerves. They're both their first time getting to compete in something like that. So and there was a couple of shooters that were like, "Whoa, why did this person not make
Yeah.
more?"
I was
I mean,
honestly surprised Damian Chambers made it to the next round.
Yeah, but he did hit 20.
Yeah,
yeah,
He did hit
yeah.
20 to get to the second round.
indeed.
After the second, he just got so tired.
He
That
was
man got
winded.
winded.
Yeah, he was.
It was like watching Sam Perkins shoot.
Oh, not Sam Perkins, man.
Hmm.
No, it's fun. A dunk contest. I know people have mixed reviews on that. I like the dunk contest. I don't know what was going on with the judging. I'll just call it for what it is. I had to step out the booth,
You
and when
was
I
a
came back,
judge too.
y'all were giving people fives and six. What the hell is going on with that?
Really, gamers.
I just said, man, the judges was harsh last night.
Holy cow! And shout out to Devontae, but golly, oh, that's a three. Anybody should be able to do. I was like, what? These are amazing dunks. Not everybody can do that. I mean, you
Says the
know,
man who was a judge at one point himself in the contest.
right, right. So I don't know, man. I mean, Jim C, he's hilarious. I've never met someone who has that kind of style of humor. So that was
Yeah,
cool. Um, we should do a 3-team 3-point contest for fun. That would be cool. I don't know how that would work.
yeah. I
Oh,
don't
you
know.
just need like 3 rotations of people, or like.
Or
Oh,
maybe,
I see what you're saying.
or maybe do it like you have like maybe because how many can go into a contest? Like 4 or 5 people.
I think it's 5 or 6.
Yeah, same thing, 5 or 6.
So maybe
Yeah,
5 or 6 people from each team, and every team
yeah.
go each time, and whoever had the highest total win. I can see that.
That would be cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good idea, Peace.
I can see that. We're gonna have to send that up to Brent and see what he say, or if Nighthawk's still in here. I don't know if he's still in here or not, but
Yeah, sounds like
that's
we
a
need to
cool
do
idea
another
though.
All-Star weekend next weekend. Let's do it
Right.
again.
Wow.
This time in the all new mothership though. This time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was All Star Weekend in a nutshell. We're gonna keep it moving here. Y'all watching the Mission to Mars podcast, me, Gamers, Rain Man. So we're gonna go to this here. So the season's getting ready to start back up, second half of the season. And I wanna talk about if the playoffs started right now. So we found something interesting last week after
Just covered that right after the show ended last week.
right. So we found something interesting after the show ended last week. We found on the league website, and you can go to goldstandardsimsports.com and see this as well. But we found this list right here, this wild card list, and it lists all the teams in the order from division leaders, what seed they would have, and the wild card teams, what they would be in if playoffs started now. So I want to go around the room here. As you can see, we got Kentucky Reserve at the number 1 spot. We got Albuquerque at number 2, Baltimore at number 3, New Orleans at number 4, Ohio at 5, Seattle at 6, Dallas at 7, and right above the line is Portland at 8, and then below the cut line we got Oakland, Atlantic City, Boston, and Vice City. And then, of course, San Antonio, Michigan, New York, Virginia. But that's what the season would. Yeah, so that's what the season would look like if the playoffs started right now. I want to go through and get you guys' opinion on this season here. Let's start with Rayman on this one.
Well, I looked at everything, and it's almost the right order.
Mm.
It is almost the right order. I don't believe Portland is going to make it. I don't believe Portland's going to make it. I know for sure Dallas and Seattle is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
We already know. I'm going to say it. Third week in a row, Oakland will not be in the playoffs.
Here we go.
Woo!
Here we go.
I know, I know what I said. So, but I still want to see more fight in Atlantic City. I believe they have something. And I do want to see a big matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to see a big matchup in the playoffs, but I want to reveal that another time.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly see this is basically from 1 to 7. This who's going to be in the playoffs, in my opinion.
Gamers, what you thinking?
I like it. I like. I mean, obviously, us facing Dallas in the first round is not ideal. But the
Why
thing,
not?
what's that?
I said, why not? I'm looking forward to
I
matches
mean,
like that.
it's one of those things where it's not fear. I'm not scared of any team in this league. When you're like, Raymond, this from a fact. You've been doing this long enough. You see the matchups there, and the more I look at Dallas, the more I see, okay, they might have an advantage here. They might have an advantage there. And once you start going down the list and you start saying, man, this team can beat you in a lot of different areas, then it's not a worry, but it's like, okay, what can we do right now with these last couple of weeks to start preparing? Because the wild card, it's a great thing to look at, but you really can't get ahead of yourself. You really have to still take the rest of the season game by game. I mean, we still have half of our divisional schedule to play. Like we gotta go against Seattle. We got Portland twice. So, but then when you're up late at night and you are starting to think about the playoffs, just from a game planning perspective, Dallas presents a lot of problems for a lot of teams. By the way, and getting them right now while they're hot, while they're playing with their hair on fire. Um, I think it would be a really, really, really good series. I think we could win. I think we win, but it could be a really, really, really good series. And a game here or there could cost you the series if you don't game plan it perfectly. And so it just puts a different type of pressure on you. Whereas other teams, you beat them a certain way. That's their bread and butter. That's all they can kind of stick with. For example, a team like Portland. No offense to Portland, but I mean they're very kind of stuck in how they want their offense to flow, and
Mm-hmm.
you feel like if you could stop them, I mean, forcing them to have to do something different is just not going to suit their roster.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, on the other hand, I mean, like you guys saw Tavian Tyree. I mean, him now being able to step out and make threes, that's a whole nother element that they weren't even trying to use this season. And they just saw him go 4 for 4 from the 3-point line in the All Star game. They're about to circle that up and just add it to the wheelhouse. Kanan Abel is looking on fire. Just Blaze is looking on fire. He had a big All Star game. Then you got Cherie Jello, you got Luke Boudreau, Perry Pinkert left the 3-point contest to get into the dunk contest. So
Bad
I don't know
idea.
what the heck. I don't know what he was thinking because he lost both. He lost both. But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm scared of Dallas. I think it would be a really good series. It would be a really good way to start out the playoffs for a team like us that has not made the playoffs before in franchise history. So uh, but no, I like the list. All these teams are deserving. I agree with you, Rain Man. I think it's going to shift a little bit more. Portland, they're in a weird spot because of the back end of their schedule. They have to go against, they got to go against us twice. And but like I wrote in the write up, if they somehow get a win here, get a win there, they could go from I think they're third in the division right now to first if they play their cards right. But the same thing can be said with Seattle. The same thing can be said with Oakland because right now our division is so close. Where if you can sneak in a win or two where you shouldn't, you're in the driver's seat. So I think Seattle. I agree with you, Raymond. I think just your Seattle boys are in. Um, I have to look at the back end of their schedule really quickly.
So,
Well, but Seattle has to take on Oakland twice,
mm-hmm.
and
So
they have to take on Vice City. So, go ahead, Ingram.
here's my prediction for the playoffs.
Okay.
I'm thinking Atlantic City is gonna find some way to sneak in to that final spot.
Okay. That's a good. Okay, break down your theory then.
They got to go against the Merfolk, who is not a good
Mm-hmm.
team right now, who's sitting at the bottom of the rankings. So they might as well rebuild for next season. They got to go against the Skyliners, another team who's sitting at the bottom of the rankings right now. But then you get into the first three games of this half season, which is Baltimore, who I think they can beat. I think that's going to be. I think the Sea Dogs is going to shock everybody and beat Baltimore this week. I'm not even going to lie.
Again, it
Again,
wouldn't be a shock. They got them the first time,
yeah.
and
So
and now they have Spider, and that's a whole. I don't know if they had Spider when they beat Baltimore the first time around,
they
but
didn't.
they are starting to really use Spider the way he needs to be used, which is him standing out there knocking down threes, and if they combine that with the other center they have
Hmm.
who can gobble up rebounds, I mean,
So I think they're going to beat Baltimore. As hot as Boston's been, I think they're going to take them.
mm,
The only game I think they're going to run into a problem with the last part of their schedule, going into that third game of midway way, is against the Oakland Otters, just because the way
mm,
they've been looking.
mm,
So I'm thinking Atlantic City is going to hop up into that last slot.
mm,
The
mm,
Pioneers, they're not going to make it. They got to play the Martians twice.
mm,
They got to play the Orcas, and they got to play the Otters. So they're
yeah,
playing in the Pacific, which is the toughest division to play
right.
in, where the games is going to be tough. And the way some of these Pacific teams have been playing this season, I just don't see the Pioneers beating them. Now, the only game on their schedule that I can possibly see them winning coming into this second half is when they go against the Stampede. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, all the other games are in the Pacific, and I just don't see Portland being able to pull it off and make the playoffs. Now, as far as Oakland, let's see who they got. They got
I mean, they got a
Seattle.
weird.
They got Seattle. They got
Mhm.
San Antonio. They got Atlantic City. They got the Pioneers, and they got Seattle again. So three of their last five games is Pacific Division games, and then the last two is and then well, the last two is against the Gulf Coast in the Atlantic Division. So I'm thinking though that maybe they might can pull. They're gonna pull it off against the Stampede, I believe, and they're gonna beat the Sea Dogs. It's just those games within those division for most of these teams that I'm
Right.
not sure they can win,
Mhm.
especially with Portland and Oregon. But I think if
Oh,
Port,
I forgot to add my dark horse candidate. Let's go, Boston. Let's go, Boston. Boston has somehow put themselves in the weirdest position there is. Weirdest position.
hmm
I mean, what they only won what, two or three of their last games, but that is put them one game. I mean, they are neck and neck with the Atlantic City Sea Dogs in that division. One of these teams, I thought we were giving wild card slots to the second best team in the division. Maybe not. I see that now.
hey, well, I
But
mean, Boston they could be a sleeper though. Boston is
they can.
definitely a
I
sleeper.
said it last week. I'll say it again.
Hmm?
I don't think Boston's going to make it through Kentucky this week.
Mm-mm.
But everybody else
No
except for
way,
us,
no chance in hell.
everybody else except for us, I think they have a weird chance. I think Boston has the chance against Atlantic City. I know we love Ohio. I love Ohio. I think Boston has a chance against Ohio if they play the right matchups and game plan.
Hmm.
I think Boston also has a chance against Baltimore if they play the right matchup and the right game plans, similar to the one that they used to put the dagger in New York
Hmm.
and surprise Portland and come back and show heart and grit and a want to that looks like you are fighting for something because statistically there's still a chance for them to make it into this. Um,
Yeah, yeah, you got statistically they are,
Hmm.
mm,
but them teams that you name are teams that are actually fighting right now
That's true.
to get into that playoff spot. They
That's
they
true.
they fighting for seeding right now.
Hmm.
I don't think any one of them teams that's fighting for the playoff will lose against Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And to back up on something I said, I do believe Baltimore will is gonna mop the floor with the Sea Dogs this, when they play them.
Just go around.
Mm-hmm.
I
I don't
believe they're
know.
gonna mop the floor only because I can see this right on Riggins' calendar. He got that circle.
Mm-hmm.
He felt that was like an embarrassment right there for him. So I can see this game meaning much more to
Mhm.
him than this
Huh.
does to the Sea Dogs winning.
And you're right. You're right because the Sea Dogs are not in. Baltimore is in,
Mm-hmm.
and so the Sea Dogs. But it's one of those things where when you're playing against a team that has nothing to lose, like the Sea Dogs here, uh, and the crew over there would love to play spoiler, would love to just piss off Boston again,
Mm-hmm.
you know, kick their puppy and just make them have a bad day. Um, I don't know. People have started to kind of figure out Baltimore. I'm saying Boston. People have started to figure out Baltimore's game plan a little bit better,
Yeah.
and kind of that midway point of the season. Um, Seattle drummed Boston. I mean, I keep calling them Boston. Oh,
You're thinking about Boston.
Seattle took Baltimore down a peg with the way that they beat them down, and
Mm-hmm.
Shane was here last week. He put in the chat exactly what needs to be done to take down Baltimore, which is what they did. And if people were looking at Shane's comments in the chat, I took a notepad out and wrote down. Now, um,
Mm-hmm.
but we also did talk about, Rayman. You said you would not be surprised if Luke, in his very calculated, methodical self, has a secret game plan that he's probably been working on to unleash all that size and length and athleticism and defense that they have with all this sneaky shooting that they have. I don't know. This is just about to be a really good second half of the season.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking with the second part of this season though, with Kentucky and the Martians, if
Mm,
they can win at least 2 or 3 of their last 5 games, then the 1 and 2 seed is definitely like locked in as far
mm,
as the. So it's definitely gonna be like I'm thinking Baltimore, and I'm gonna just say it. The top 4 seeds is gonna be locked in with the teams that's in there right now.
mm.
As long as Baltimore can finish strong, New Orleans, I don't have no problem with. They might
Mm.
actually hop up and take the number 3 seed over
I can
Baltimore. If
see
you
that.
ask me,
I can
I
see
can
that.
definitely
That's kind
see
of what
that.
I was alluding to. I think
Yeah.
Baltimore is in.
Mhm.
I think they're safe somewhere. Even if they somehow get out of the top four, they're going to be safe in the wild card.
Mhm.
And I mean, we're talking about the team that was number one in the power rankings for a good bit of the season, and then had a few missteps, but
Yeah.
it's still Baltimore, man. They're still a dangerous team. Um, Fowler is asking, are the Martians safe? Hell yeah, we safe. Golly.
I'm thinking everybody right now who's a division leader is safe right now, especially the top 1 or 2. Even if
Well,
they lose the last 2 games of the season, they still get in on wild card. So Kentucky
I
and
know.
Albuquerque is safe.
I think Kentucky is safe. I think the way Kentucky plays, their style of play, they beat you in so many different ways. The rest of
Mhm.
their schedule, I mean, they have some teams on the rest of their schedule that could give them a scare, but they
Hmm.
just
Mhm.
beat you in so many different ways. I don't know. It doesn't now. Ooh, it doesn't feel like Oakland from last year with them,
Mhm.
but maybe that's just because of the style of the play. I mean, I don't know. It just felt like Oakland was a little bit more defensive. They would go on those runs where the other team couldn't score at all,
Yeah.
for like minutes, and it would just be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Um,
So let me ask you this though, moving from the top 4 to the bottom 4. So we're talking about
Right.
San Antonio, Michigan, New York, and Virginia right now. Either they've only won 1 game, 2 games, or 3 games. So basically, I don't see Vice City too. They've only won 3 games too, but I mean, they still, if they can finish strong, they might have a shot at the 8 seed as well. But if you okay, so let's go with those bottom 3 teams: Michigan, New York, and Virginia. If you are those
Right.
bottom 3 teams, what what do you think is your goal going into the second part of the season? Knowing I'm on the bottom 3, there's probably not no way we can make playoffs right now. What is your goals? What you think for the
You
second
know,
half of the
man,
season?
this is when you start seeing long list of half the roster on the block. This is when you need to make
Mm-hmm.
moves. Either you need to blow it up now, rebuild, start figuring out what you can do to work on next year's team, or you try to play spoiler. What you have, you try to play spoiler. You try to knock off a win, 2 or here, build some momentum, tell everybody, you know what, look, we got another win, another 2 wins. We hurt somebody else, messed with somebody else's reputation. I mean, that's kind of what we did last season. We, got knocked down all season long, and then we said, let's play spoiler. Let's take it to Portland. Let's try this new game plan with this and this and that, and let's take it to Oakland. Let's give them a scare. So, and it did wonders for the locker room. It did wonders for, you know, how people felt about us around the league. So I don't know. Maybe they should not count themselves out just yet. I mean, they're out of the playoffs probably statistically and all that stuff, but you can still play spoiler. You can still build towards next year the right way.
Indeed, Rayman, what you got?
Well, we definitely not talking about the bad news Bears winning 1 game. We're gonna be happy about it. Um, but
I knew it was coming.
I'm just gonna be honest. If that was me at the bottom right there, there's a word that shouldn't be used, as when you talk about your team. But I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna tank.
Try to
I'm
get that
gonna
number
tank.
one.
I'm selling. I'm
Whoa,
selling
whoa,
off
whoa!
whatever
Hey,
I gotta sell off.
that's a dangerous word, man.
I'm, I'm calling it like they need to see it.
Mm,
Sell off what you gotta sell off.
mm. No, I agree, man. I mean, Virginia, as much as I love them, I think they have a right to. New York, as much as I love them, same type of instance. New York, they just have so many assets. I just don't know if they just couldn't figure out the right game plan, or people in the locker room were complaining too much and they started trying to do things. I just, I said every team is stacked. Yes, I did. Every team is stacked. Every team has very usable players. They just most teams that are at the bottom are not running the proper system to utilize the strength of their players to mask the weaknesses.
Indeed.
When you can overcome some of those weaknesses, then you can look like a much better team than you are right now. Virginia is not doing anything to maximize what they have.
I didn't see no headphones either.
Yes, and I agree. I agree, sports fan. Shane, I thought Shane, I thought you were gonna be in the booth with us this week.
Yeah, I thought you. Yeah, that's what I'm about to say, Shane. I thought you was gonna come on here with us. But yeah. And
Please.
speaking speaking of though, let's go back to one of the teams right now.
Go ahead, Ingram. My bad. I
Oh,
was
you
reading.
good? You good? You good? So let's go back to one of the teams right now who's actually in the hunt for a playoff spot right now.
Okay.
So I'm talking about Atlantic City. So news outlets reported this week that they're looking to trade Greg Lake,
Are you
and
serious?
Greg Lake has let it be known that if he
Mhm.
gets traded to another team, he will not be re-signing with that team. So, what do you think of
What?
that? Yeah.
Well, Greg Lake, if you can hear this, we were not going to touch you with a 10-foot pole, okay? We went through this with you the last time, and I'm damn sure not going to do this with you again. So, wherever you go, I hope you are happy, man. I get it. You want more minutes, and you want to be the number one option. And I think in some universe, you deserve those minutes and deserve to be the number one option. But basketball is a team sport. You got to work
Hmm.
around what the roster composition is. So I mean, I love Greg Lake. Um, we have plenty of stories of us trying to go and get Greg Lake, and yeah, that's
Hmm.
Shane. That's kind of something that he needs to be reflective in and look at and say, my skill set may not work as me being the number one option. What can I add, and what can I change in my game to make it to where I can be the every possession scorer that teams need me to be. I can't take plays off. But yeah, no, I think last year we tried to get Greg Lake. He let it be known that he did not want to be in Albuquerque. He did not want to be a Martian. And we respect that.
Right.
And I don't hold grudges. I'm not bitter. I just know this time around, I don't think we can try to go after him. I just there's
Mm-mm.
nothing that we will give up to get him, and it just doesn't make sense. I think his play style is not what we're looking for in our system this year. But he's a damn good player.
I
And
say,
But if y'all willing to do a 3-team trade, possibly we can get him to you all.
okay.
I
You know,
I don't want Greg Lake. I'm
hold on, you got let me finish
Let
my
him finish. Let him finish. I like the word 3-team trade though. So let him
hmm
yeah,
finish.
3-team
Let him
trade.
finish. Let him
You
finish.
know,
Okay.
it's possible y'all can get Greg Lake. It's possible Al Ingram could come swing over to Nola. And we also, hold on, we also throwing in Albuquerque's first round pick Nola got.
Oh.
And,
Oh.
Nola may give up a center or two, a center over there to Michigan since they need one very deeply and badly. You
Hmm.
know, just an epiphany right quick.
Why does
Epiphany.
everybody want Al Ingram all of a sudden? I mean, jeez, the guy
Hey,
ain't shit. No, I'm just playing.
hey,
Hey.
Ingram,
I want
could
to.
you
I
say,
just remember Ingram. I
hey,
wanted you last year. Just remember
mm-mm,
that.
hey,
I
Ingram,
wanted you first.
remember what you said at the beginning, what you said about Goshe. When you talked to Goshe, what did you say?
What did I say about? Oh, I'd rather play with him than play against him.
That's what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
see, he's a
I'm
smart
just
man,
putting
Rain
the
Man.
deals out on the table.
He's a smart man. He's putting it out there. He's
Smart
putting it out there.
man.
I see what he do.
He's a smart
Guess
man.
what, Rain Man? There's not an alternate
Where
universe
my
where that would
sound
work.
at?
You
Where is my
sit
sounds
down.
at?
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna go
I
get a
can't
steak
I
now.
can't even find my sounds right now. That's a smart man.
We can't keep getting away with it.
Hold on, I gotta find it. That's a smart man right there. Where is it? Ain't even gonna let me find it. This some bull crap right here. That's all I got to say. Hold on, real quick. Let me see. Oh, there we go. That. It ain't even do it. It don't like me today.
So it ain't meant for you. It ain't meant for you to say. It's meant for you to, take your
Think,
time.
kid
Just
eye,
think
think it
about it.
over.
Think about it. And we can mumble it over, before the trade
You
deadline.
can't keep
You know.
getting
When is
away with
so? When
it.
is the trade deadline, by the way?
Yeah, when is the trade deadline? I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
I'm figuring that it's like a game or two after the All-Star break.
Oh,
Mm,
snap!
okay.
So it'd be something we'd have to think about very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, take your time. Take 1 or 2 hours.
1 or 2 minutes to think.
Yeah, just before we get off the
Man,
podcast, maybe I'll have an answer for me. You know.
well, to be honest, man, it's hard. I mean, I think the way that we have constructed our roster, if we were to trade one person, it would probably turn into like a whole domino effect. It feels like we would have to start trading again to like get it's kind of like it's hard to just trade one person and just say,
Yeah.
okay, we just upgraded here. You know, where some teams try to do a win-win trade like that, like, oh, we need this to upgrade. It feels like with our roster, just the way we play, it wouldn't necessarily just be an upgrade. We'd have to figure out who can we pair this person with to then make them to what we have right now or what we used to have.
Right.
So I don't know, man. The
Mm-hmm.
trading this year feels scary.
Yeah.
We know that there's a lot of ghost league, a lot of people that are inactive and they're not being registered as ghosts and stuff like that. It's a
It's getting
dangerous
crazy
game
this
out there
year.
on those trading streets, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. To be honest, like with you though, I couldn't trade none of my players right now. I feel like from the beginning to the end right now, we have jail. We have come so far.
Right.
Just in the battles,
Same
just
here.
in the battle, the
Yeah.
talks in the locker room. You're like, hey, hey, pick up your head. Hey, we got the next one. We got the next one. So I just like what we carry. Nobody's worried about time on the floor. Everybody's worried about the
Right,
W's that come into on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
everybody, like even this week, in the locker room, folks asking, "Hey, you think anything we need to upgrade? Anything we need to work on? Where can I
Mhm.
get better at?" And I love that coming from players that just want to be there. So
Right.
taking
Right.
somebody off my team, we came too far. We came too far now to go back behind.
Hey, that's just right,
Hey.
and I don't know. I think it's just because, yeah, we're right there with you, Rain Man. I
Mm-hmm.
just think that word trading and trading someone, yeah, it feels like you're like having to accept that, man, this roster that we built that is gelled so well it's just
Yeah.
not working. It's too, and sometimes it's not an ego thing because I don't think any of us in here have egos, but it's just hard to, it's like your baby. It's just hard to give it up. The roster that you've constructed and built around, the system that you built around that roster to just say, okay, we're gonna try, now we got to bring in someone new. Like if we got to figure out how to make them work, what's best for them, and if you can't do it quickly, this close to the playoff, you could be screwed. It could be disastrous. Um, and so like Shane was saying, Greg Lake, he's been locked up before. His defense is
That's that.
to be desired. It's got a lot of work that he would have to do defensively. Um, and the way that we like to guard, we have to have versatility there. You have to be able to, if you're a guard on our team, you have to be able to guard the one and the two, and our longer guards need to be able to guard the one and the two, and possibly the three, just depending on the scenario. And so I don't know realistically. Well, where would Greg Lake fit? I mean, now that I'm thinking it over, I'm like, where would he fit? I mean, would he start? Would he start over Banks? Would
Mm-hmm.
he be? He's not going to be fine coming off the bench, even though I think that's how they're using him in Atlantic City. But there's just never a number that's good enough for him. If he's not
Yeah.
getting 25 to 28 minutes a game, it feels like, then he's just upset. And I mean, he's having a really good year in
And
Atlantic City, so
and it's
I don't know
always
why he's out.
and it's always been our philosophy in Albuquerque that whoever is the best player who we think is going to be the best
Hmm.
during the during the process of running our sims, that's who's going to play that week.
I disagree.
That's
Yep,
that's how it's
that
always
was our
been with that.
mantra.
Even like
That was our mantra. Yep.
even like when if we go back to last season, I'm not gonna say no players' names or anything like that because it done been squashed and stuff like that, and it's really none of y'all business who player it is. But we had a player last year who we got, and he came in and basically said if he wasn't starting, then he didn't want to play for us. He wanted to be traded. He didn't. He didn't. He didn't feel like he didn't feel like he was gonna get no playing time because the
Ooh.
owner was in his position as well, and we had to sit him to the side
Mm.
and be like, "Yo, just because," and this has always been my thing, and gamers always tell you, and then just the way our season went last year would tell you, like, just because I'm an owner means
Mhm.
I'm automatically starting. That's not the way I do stuff, and that's not the way I do business. And
Mhm.
that's not the way I operate as a coach. The best player
Exactly.
is always going to play, and as you can see,
Mhm.
the best player played on there. Just like me, I didn't start starting until the end of the season.
Right, right, right. It,
So, and that was mainly because the way our game plan went at the end of the season, I would be the best person at that position to put us in the best spot to win the game. And we
exactly.
ended up winning 2 games in a row. Not saying that it was because I was playing, but because we changed up our game plan and our lineup. And that's what
Right,
everybody moving forward in our locker room understands. Like the best person at the end of the day is
right.
going to play. So it might be me running point guard right now, which I have been through the midway season. But who knows? You might get like Brent Lane starting off the next game. You might get Justin
Mm-hmm.
Banks running the one. You might get Salah, who ran the one during the New Orleans game, come in there and
Mm-hmm.
see what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
So, I mean, that's always been my philosophy. Whoever is the best player at whatever position we see we could benefit from him, that's going to be the guy who
right,
play. And no
right.
offense to Greg Lake, but I think that he is one of those candidates to where he doesn't fit our philosophy
Mm-hmm.
in Albuquerque. So,
Right.
wish you the best on your future endeavors, but we're
Yep.
going to go
That's why I
ahead and
always
go
say it.
over
We
this
wish you the best,
opportunity.
but this time around, man, we can't.
Yeah.
And we both love Greg Blake, man.
Mm-hmm.
I really do enjoy watching. He's got like an old school style of play. He can
Yeah.
hit that mid range. 3-point shot is smooth, wet like butter. He has a very amazing shooting motion. He knows how to get his own shot. ISO player. He can slash. He can do everything. Just
Yeah.
gotta be able to play
And
defense.
and if I were him, these bottom 3 teams, because they're gonna be
hmm
looking for somebody who could come in
Right.
and lead their
Right.
teams, I would put your ego to the side. Not saying that he had one, but if you do, put it to the side, and I would go to one of them bottom 3 teams and let
Right.
them build around you and get a playoff caliber team
Right.
because you
Right.
already got a
You,
playoff
you you
caliber
you
player
still gotta
based off
look.
of
You still
Great
gotta
Lake.
look at this part. If you look at the bottom 3 teams,
Mm-hmm.
the bottom 4 teams. If you look at the bottom 4, let's take Michigan out the way real fast.
Mhm.
Due to the fact that Michigan Lake, they already had a divorce papers, and it's a messy and bad divorce right there. Kids involved. You know how that is.
Oh man, not the
So
kids.
you take the bottom 3 teams.
Mhm.
Who really needs them? It's only one team right there that basically can say is in need of him. The other teams can't even say I need this player.
That is very true. That is very
So
true.
when it all boils down,
Mhm.
if they got some ghosts, the bottom 2, bottom 3 have some ghosts they need to let go, or
Mm-hmm.
or if it ain't in the right position, you basically say he is going to have to go with Virginia.
Right.
Well, I mean,
And what they're saying in the chat, Virginia actually makes. Now that we've said it, Virginia makes a lot of sense for him. Like Shane just said, he could go to Virginia. He could be the number one option. He doesn't have to worry about playing point guard at
mm-hmm.
all because you got Aaron Hughes there. He could be the number one option, get 28 minutes a game. Aaron could go in and register everybody else as a ghost. I think pretty
Yeah.
much